with Jason Bermas, and we are throttling through this hackers leak emails, tell the truth about what's going on with this global climate change scare, this propaganda, this fear-mongering to get into your wallet to further degrade your standard of living. And that's what this is really about. It's for an excuse to come into your home. It's an excuse to say, hey, we don't think you should have so many children, and you should drive the cars we want you to with the nice GPS systems in them that can tax you by the mile. That's going down in the Netherlands today. That system has been passed. We covered it on last week's INFOWARRIOR. That's right, a nightmare system, a control grid where your car is forced to have a GPS system in it, and you are charged a tax by the kilometer that you drive. Get ready. It will come to Europe all the way around, and they want it here in the United States as well. And they're taking the baby steps. But now their cover has been blown. Thank God for hackers out there. Everybody wants to degrade hackers, and they've had these global conferences where they're running drills, and they're the new terrorists, cyber terrorists. They want to pass the Cyberbullying Act and the Cybersecurity Act. But if it wasn't for these people that knew how to get into the back doors of computer systems that don't work for the overlords, that don't work for the elite-sponsored governments out there, we wouldn't have this information. It would still be hearsay. But it is no longer hearsay. Let me continue. The use of the word trick by Phil Jones has been seized on by skeptics who say his email offers proof of collusion between scientists and distort evidence to support their assertion that human activity is influencing climate change. Folks, get out there. Listen to Lord Christopher Monckton. He's telling you the truth, that you are not the reason for this quote-unquote climate change. And remember, they've changed the argument. It used to be about global warming, and then they realized, well, we can't lie about this anymore, so we'll manipulate the language. We'll use a semantical trick, and we'll call it climate change. When I was in school, it wasn't carbon that was the enemy. It was chlorofluorocarbons. It was CFCs. It was hairspray and spray paint. But now they've changed it to encompass everything you do, the food you eat, the energy you use, the cars you drive. The University of East Angelica said the information published on the internet had been selected deliberately to undermine the strong consensus that human activity is affecting the world's climate in ways that are potentially dangerous. No, they didn't cherry pick the evidence. They went out and published the emails, published the documents, and people are now reading them and understanding that this is a scam. You don't think it's a scam? We've got other headlines right here, right now, that show you the true nature of what this really means. UN. This is how you could fight climate change. You ready? Fight climate change with free condoms. It's about population control. It's about sterilizing the third world. It's about bringing the second world here to the great United States of America. The battle against global warming could be helped in the world's slowed population growth by making free condoms and family planning advice more widely available, the UN Population Fund said Wednesday. And over the weekend, I was in the office, and who's up on Bloomberg just praising the UN, worshiping the UN? None other than Mr. Sustainability himself, Ted Turner. And Ted Turner is on record on the Charlie Rose show saying that global warming is caused by, quote unquote, too many people doing too many things, and that if we don't stop what we're doing, we are all going to become, quote unquote, cannibals that live in a third world state like Somalia. Too many people doing too many things. And what they didn't air on that television program, but you can read in the transcripts, is the fact that he also said there should be a 1 to 2 child policy instituted here in the late great United States. Women with access to reproductive health services have lower fertility rates and contribute to slower the growth of greenhouse gas emissions. They literally are telling you here in doublespeak that you are the reason that the planet is warming, that you're emitting too many greenhouse gases, and we need population sustainability. Again, when the UN is telling you they are going to fight not only population control, but climate change with free condoms, you should be able to assess what the agenda is truly about. And right now, with the Copenhagen talks going to be taking place from December 7th to the 18th, they have 65 world leaders enrolled for these climate talks. Some of the big hitters are coming from Britain, Germany, France, Spain, Australia, Japan, Indonesia, Brazil, and of course, the United States. Now is the time like never before. We have literally literally just over 2 weeks to let people know about this breaking news, that they can now read the lies, the hypocrisy of these so-called scientists, of these so-called experts, that we need to pay a carbon tax to save the world. And remember the people that are promoting this carbon tax, this cap and trade scheme like Al Gore? They have 25 houses. They have large mansions that are just sitting there, and all they have are a few workers in them. Is that sustainability? Meanwhile, they want you to live in some sort of a shack inside of an apartment complex. They want you to live in the ghetto. They want to build up these big cities where you live in a compact environment, where you can be tracked, traced, and databased daily in everything you do, not just on your internet, not just on your phone, which is right now happening, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. They want total and complete control. But getting back to the climate change, I also want to point out they're not only saying that climate change is, the worst thing ever and that the UN's going to fight it with condoms. They're saying that climate change is driving poor women in poor countries into prostitution. Let's get the document cam on this one. You can't make this stuff up. Here is the headline. I got this off the Drudge Report today. Climate change pushes poor women to prostitution. Dangerous work. Talk about guilting the populace. They're saying, well, if you don't want to pay your carbon tax, you're pushing women into prostitution. The effects of climate change have driven women in communities in coastal areas in poor countries like the Philippines into dangerous work. And sometimes even the flesh trade, a United Nations official said. The UN, by hook or by crook, will tell you anything they could possibly imagine to get you to promote their globalist agenda of a one world government, of a Copenhagen treaty where you will be taxed for everything you do. There's a reason that they're running stories out in the UK that toilet paper is causing global warming and the consumption of it in the United States is just too much for the earth to handle. I can't make that up, but it's on the London Telegraph. I'm Jason Bermas. It's the InfoWarrior. We'll be back after this. PrisonPlanet.tv, Infowars.com.